Hello, adventurers, and welcome to Roll for Bluff, our talk show where we discuss our ongoing Dungeons & Dragons campaign, Bards and Nobles. I am your host, Sam, and I'll play Calamine, the Tiefling Rogue. And to the far end of the table is Sorn, played by Tristan, our Dungeon Master, Brandon, and our special guest for the night, Zeke, who plays Leon. They'll be joining me as my co-host tonight, as well as my army of the undead. We have kind of an interesting show tonight because this will be the first official episode of this program. So we kind of hope to get you guys sort of sucked into the story with this. So we'll be continuing the story tonight on Collision at the Colosseum.
Finding themselves trapped in the pit of the Colosseum, the mighty Stormbreakers and Galdine, the previous champion of the Colosseum, which Sorn defeated with his bare hands, had been surrounded by clockwork beasts such as rhinos, hellhounds, a griffin, a dysplasia beast, and a clockwork owl.
Bear.
Owl bear.
That's an owl! Oh, goodness!
Bear.
Owl. Oh, owl bear. Oh, okay.
Which, for those of you who don't know what an owl bear is, imagine the size, a very, very large bear.
With an owl.
Put an owl face on it and give it feathers. Got yourself an owl bear. High fantasy from Dungeons & Dragons.
That's an owl bear. It's exactly what it sounds like.
Above them in the air was a large chain netting that had encased them inside of the arena, and all of the doors had been closed so they could not escape. Knowing that there was magic radiating off of this, they did what the Stormbreakers do best and fought. So I'll let the Stormbreakers actually talk about the fight, because it's not as fun if I'm talking about it. So, what did you guys think of the fight?
It was intense.
I hate rhinos.
It was like scary going into it at first with so many different, like the amount of monsters you had.
That's true. This is your big first fight with us.
Like I've had fights, but not like
Not
with
Bear, Griffin.
Well,
rhinos.
yeah, I mean, because you're relatively new to our group. So I mean, we did some battles. Whether it was like a couple of groups of like bandits or even the gnolls were pretty bad.
Yeah.
But then you walk in.
This was
like you're like, this is what I have to deal with you guys.
It just kept getting worse.
No.
You guys get me sucked into everything.
I mean, so yeah, it was one of those things where I think we were kind of prepared for some of them. I mean, some of these were new creatures for us. The Displacer Beast we fought in the Colosseum before. So we almost kind of knew what to expect. We were like, oh, thank God, there's only one of them.
That was the saving grace, I think.
But then to have things like the Griffin, the Rhinos, these were things that were new to us. And it's one of those things where it's like, all right, we know Brandon well enough when he makes these things. They were like, what's going to be the thing with these guys?
Yeah. So I think it's important to mention that when we were in the Colosseum, we found ourselves transported because as we looked up above the cage, there was Droppelman who was floating like almost on like a
floating disc.
But we could hear and see basically like imps and demonic creatures around us. And Lyran and I could understand them shouting in an infernal like kill him, like get him, like so there was sort of like a change of setting there. Which I thought was kind of cool. Nice little touch with that, honestly.
A little bit of spice.
And then the problem with some of these clockwork machines where, we'd kind of been relying on certain types of magic for the clockwork beings, like lightning. But with certain clockwork beings, it did not work out so well. So with the clockwork rhinos.
We had the rhinos where their horns acted as lightning rods that magically draw any kind of lightning damage to them within a certain distance. And we learned that immediately when Bilal walked in and went, lightning! And it went, zoop! And went, oh no!
Yeah, so that was, I think that was a clever move on the part of our...
I think Brandon discussed it as, it was like the answer to anything Sorn had.
Well, it's the answer to the problem that, Droppelman and those making the clockworks found out after the first fight in the Colosseum with him when you zapped everything and it did double damage.
Right.
So the world and people, do R&D and find out, oh, lightning, that does a lot of damage. Maybe we should minimize that somehow and create things to counteract that. So
Right.
Yeah. But and then with the Clockwork Hellhounds, they had small bells in their necks, which they could do like this howl, and it would like intimidate and weaken the party mentally. But they could also use a little bell with almost like
It was a room
like a
on it.
lighter kind of to like
Flame.
spout flames from their throats, which was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like little cartridges that would have like
Cool, but destructive. But we also weren't worried about them as much, which I thought was hilarious.
The Clockwork Hellhounds kind of were almost like we got other things we got to worry about.
There are bigger things.
There are bigger
right.
things.
The rhinos were stopped us from doing. I mean, because Soren has a bunch of lightning stuff to help
Right.
really do damage, but all of that was null and void.
So we took care of the rhinos first. Though I
The
think those
griffin
were
was flying
primary.
around doing its own thing. The displacer beast we already know is a big issue.
But the
That's some-
Displacer Beast hadn't gone after us initially, so we kind of
had time.
had some time. The owl bear, you and I kind of
Yeah.
tag team on that one, which also wound up having kind of a cool feature where it could almost like
Two
steal
assassins.
itself.
That was- yeah.
And then
more defense.
yeah.
But it died almost like immediately after it did that, didn't
Yes,
it? It was
'cause
like,
you guys-
it's like I'm armored defense, and you guys are like, no. it was like,
where,
oh no.
Meanwhile, the griffin had this kind of like mechanical arm that could
Grapple hook.
potentially pick somebody up and drag it,
Drama.
which it did initially to Goldine and dropped him right in front of the Displacer Beast.
He was
Poor
like, all right,
Goldine.
cool, I'll fight you now.
Yeah. So, I mean, the fight lasted for a while. I mean, at one point, I think more than half the party went down.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is where we also learned that Soren, after he defeats a certain number of people, he gains a fresh new thing.
a new hotness, as some people say. A fun ability after, defeating so many enemies using his
Right.
special hammer.
Yeah, so using my special hammer, after 10 kills, he can cast Call Lightning. So he essentially is like, finally, I defeated enough people. Let's do this.
Which is neat. It's very
Which is
neat.
very neat, especially after you kill the rhinos.
Yes.
But I think we definitely got lucky to some degree, especially when
Yeah, that
Bilal
could've
started
been
putting up the healing
really-
spirit.
Yeah.
Really bad.
I need the healing.
But we managed to sort of take them down one by one, and it got to the point where we had taken them all down except for the griffin.
Mm-hmm.
He was flying around.
It was flying.
He was like pretty badly though.
Yeah, he was
So-
pretty hurt, pretty bad.
Yeah, and at that point, Droppelman kind of decided, well, shit. The infernal crowd around him was starting to boo everything. They're getting, you can tell they're getting upset. So the net sort of dissipated. Droppelman kind of made their escape, and then they were sent back to Dramic from wherever they were in the Nine Hells.
Somewhere.
Underland.
From some mysterious place, where Droppelman attempted to make an escape to his office
With Trish.
with Trish.
The changeling.
Yes.
The
Who
change.
everyone loves. No one hates.
And then,
We love Trish.
Who did we see who took down the shield? That kept us in there.
Oh, that's right. I didn't even see that part.
Yeah. So
You weren't there.
Yeah.
No,
because
because
you
the second
left.
Droppelman and Trish bolted, Soren stayed in a rage and leapt after him with his ring
With the ring of jumping.
Bilal continued to fly as a flying bear.
Yeah,
So he was
I'm
a bear that
slowly
sprouted
climbing.
angel wings. It was like,
I'm just climbing the wall very slowly.
I'll get ya.
So meanwhile, Liren and I stayed in the center of the Colosseum with Gildine, where Dalmine showed up, and
Plot twist.
there was a little heated conversation between Cal and Dalmine there. And then Charon.
who has a
also
recap?
showed up.
Dalmine is Calmine's estranged, long lost mother.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then Charon showed up. But let's go ahead. You guys had followed Droppelman up into
Right.
his office.
So I had Soren had smashed open the door just to catch as Droppelman and Trish had shifted something behind the desk to reveal an escape passage, and they're like, crap! And then they closed that, to which Soren then attacked the floor, cracking open the metal slab, to which Droppelman's like, holy crap, nope, this is bad, totally bad. And we started crawling through. Soren ended up taking the back because at that point the passageway wasn't very big. And
I think it
Soren
was too. It was kind of tight for you.
Yeah, it was
Yes.
tight for me, so I was moving at half speed.
Drop him in as a dwarf, so he's stout but small.
Right. So it was Leon and Bilal were chasing. Bilal had changed back to his normal form. Going down, Trish throwing back some projectiles that Bilal had thrown. And they had, at one point, Trish was like, I'm not getting paid enough for this. And
I'm out.
and threw Droppelman down the hallway and booked it. And to which Droppelman dove into like a hidden passageway on his side, to which Bilal and Leon went into, right?
Yeah.
Yep. And then they beat the crap out of him some more. He used a spell and ran, to which they beat him up a little bit more, but still alive.
And
He continued to
bolted
run.
Then he came to a window and leapt out. Just jumped out a window.
I
then,
shot an arrow, I think, at him.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Which
It was a hit. It's just
you hit him.
Still,
He was looking pretty bad.
yeah.
As he was falling out of the window, the griffin comes up back out of nowhere and grabs him.
Yeah.
You and Bilal were jumping down, trying to get a good vantage point to keep going for him. Soren doesn't fit through the window, so he made a hole big enough to fit because he's still raging.
And everyone knows.
So all he has to do is
this.
keep attacking, and the
That's why I'm attacking the walls and everything, the window.
The
Made a hole big
floor.
enough, see the griffin flying out, and for the first time since we've been playing, Soren pulls out a javelin, and calling back to maybe some of his old days with his dad, with dad pretty mean with the javelin, throws the javelin at the big target, the griffin, and with that javelin, it takes down the griffin.
Mayday, mayday, going down. To which Robin was like, abandoned ship! And jumped off onto a nearby roof.
To which then he saw Soren, still raging, ring of jumping again, leaping from the window at him, and beginning to chase him. To which he then grappled him.
Which was pretty easy for you.
He's just like, come here.
Come here, your head fits in my hair.
And we tied him up and gagged him. And we were like, great. We can now detain you, take you to the people, have you confess everything, and then prove that you're a bad guy.
Or
that
kill him.
no, Soren's not all about. He'd rather prove that he was guilty.
The group was mixed on, do we kill him now
I
or
think
turn him
me-
in later?
Me and Bilal were like, yeah, let's just kill him.
Murk him.
And Soren's like, no, we have to explain everything, or
And
else they'll
then-
pursue us. And and then what? What happened?
And the changeling killed him. I was like, well,
That-
Dark
gonna
1,
happen.
Dark 2.
Yeah, out of nowhere, we saw darts fly into Droppelman's neck, to which killed him.
Did you guys expect Trish to come back?
No. Like, she was
I
like,
think it was
at
one of the things we saw her
another
dip
roof?
in the hallway. We assumed that she was just being.
You see, she was because that's kind of what I was thinking. I was like, okay, well, I guess she just ran off,
Yeah, no, we totally
Right.
thought she was
and
I thought
then
that
she
was
came
a-
back, and I was like, wait, why?
And why?
What's the point?
And so that's when we saw Trish, and she was like, "Sorry, nothing personal, just business."
And she threw up a contract, and it,
Yeah.
like,
It burst
went
into
in
flames.
I was like, respect, because that was kind of...
Mad respect.
That was kind of dope way to go out. It's a cool exit. It's a totally cool exit.
And then she ran again.
Again. And then we were left standing there with the body of Droppelman tied up and...
With darts in his neck, who's dead. And then
Oh,
they
yeah.
looked down to the...
No,
the-
they searched his...
We
bag.
searched his body and
Yeah.
found the old note, the seal of Yangu, and there was something else,
I
wasn't
think- Was that?
Yes, there was.
Oh, you guys. What was it?
Yes, what was it?
The forge.
Yes, the
there?
symbol,
Oh, yeah,
the seal
symbol
of the forge.
That's
Yeah.
right. Which was a callback to some of our first adventures with Bellington.
His laugh still haunts them in their
I'm
dreams.
glad I wasn't there for that.
Yeah,
He's
consider yourself
creepy.
lucky.
So then the guards, doing their rounds, and after all the craziness that happened,
We were like, holy
Earlier
crap,
in
it's
the
a
day.
giant griffin body!
this is what
There's
is
a
this
hole in the
mechanical
wall.
griffin? Why is that broken? What is going on? Who are the what? To which Soren, being Soren,
Hello, guards!
which
I backed away in the shadows.
they did not appreciate being spooked and being yelled at from a rooftop. Soren and Bilal hopped on down.
The superhero drop.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
After a tense discussion and waiting, and the guards being like, "What? Who? What? Why?" They willingly went to jail.
Yes.
Yeah.
Soren offered up his hands like, until this matter is settled, I will gladly be put in your custody.
For
and so,
murder.
yeah. And while Bilal and Soren were arrested, Leon, who had not been made his presence known, was like, "All right, cool. I'm gonna disappear and let them run back and let everyone know."
I was like,
So
yeah, gotta
while
get everybody else out.
while they were chasing Droppelman, Cal was having a discussion with her mother that didn't go very well. And then Dalmine, her mother, went to go talk to Lirin about something in private. And then Charon showed up, the Fire Ganassi, and basically kind of surrendered himself. And showed Cal that he had a tattoo of the Wayward Flag, which is a symbol of the Postman. So they kind of took him in as a surrendered prisoner, and then we pretty much just sort of hung
Took
out.
him in as
till
a
you
prisoner.
come out.
Yeah, you guys were.
You guys
talking.
hung out. Galdian was like, "What is going on?"
Yeah.
And then he fell asleep.
Oh yeah, he fell asleep.
He fell asleep praying to Thor.
Because that's what you
And
do.
then I came up and said that we need to go.
And
He was
which
like, "What'd you do?"
We decided that we were going
Yeah,
to.
Everyone thought I killed Droppelman.
At that point, we decided we were going to take any sort of further conversations to possibly a more safer place, and we decided to sneak out of the Colosseum and head back towards the inn, which we kind of
Yes, well,
semi-successfully...
they had people in heavy armor who were pretty easily noticed.
we semi-successfully were able to sneak back to the inn. On the way, Cal spotted a symbol of the Postman on the side of an alley, and decided to follow it to a door that said the
Wondrous Items paper shop.
Yeah.
Great paper.
And when she went in, she
Wondrous paper.
she tried to sneak in but was unsuccessful. But Max was there, who
Just
works
chilling.
with the post.
Good old Max, just wherever he needs to be.
And she convinced him to come back to the inn with her.
Seems like he's got a plan.
Because she brought up that Charon was there with them. Now, while she was talking to Max,
Somebody was in charge of the group.
she had left somebody in charge of the group to get them all back safely.
We were trying to get back safely, but next thing you know, all you hear is a click and then a dash, and Charon
Yes.
somehow got free without anyone noticing and just ran. And he ran into a brewery, which I had to check for survival for that.
He had to check his tracks.
And then
It was nighttime.
We found him in the brewery. And who was it? Was it Delmine?
Dalmine.
That she used detect magic, and she put on all the lights, and all you see is just.
With prestidigitation.
Prestidigitation, he was like boom, 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 boom.
And then you see
Charon's like,
Charon just.
oh no! To which he threw down some ale and lit it on fire, trying to create some distance. But then Lirin, the water Ganassi, was like, no.
Stop this.
Water. Water beats fire. Stop it!
Rock, paper, I win. To which you tried to grapple him.
I tried to grapple him.
He monked his way out.
Yeah.
And then Galdian was just like,
Galdian.
bah! To which you found
A scroll.
a scroll roll out of his person, not really in his pocket, off his person.
purse.
And it was in Primordial. And it came along the lines of, well, Lirin could read it, and it pretty much said, run. It just said, if you get this letter, run and don't stop running. Your life is in danger. So everyone was like, whoa, wait.
What?
What are you, what?
What are you into right now?
So then they met back at the their room in the inn using their coins. And that's when Max and Charon met for the first time. Oh, not met for the first time. Met again after almost a year of not seeing each other. To which that went great. Who wants to explain how that went?
Throw the flesh.
So what wound up happening was back at the ale house, Charon had revealed to them that there was possibly some sort of demonic entity chasing after him, and he didn't really know anything about it. When they got back to the inn and Cal and Max showed up, Cal Cal immediately kind of starts questioning, like, what happened. Like, the group explains it to her. You know, she and Dalmine are trying to figure out, well, who's the demon that's after you? And then he reveals that on the back of his neck is a symbol that nobody really recognizes. You know, everybody's kind of racking their brains, like, do we know the sigil? So Cal writes to Azazel, like, hey, do you know what the symbol is?
In your new journal.
In my new journal.
Yeah, not lame.
And then, you know, Azazel writes back to place the journal up against the mark, which she does, and...
A little suspiciously.
Which is sort of weird, but it's then revealed that it is the symbol for...
Oh, God. The name is, like, Ladagorth. It's an eldritch horror.
So think Lovecraftian and
it's the name is the Dark Devourer.
It's kind of like it's sort of like a Cthulhian type being. It's not Cthulhu, but it's one of those.
It's an eldritch horror. It is cousin to one of the larger eldritch horrors. Also like a servant to Azeroth and it normally is known in the form of like black like mist that drives people insane. Also kills them.
So, you know, it kind of comes out that this being had been possibly released by Charon's brother, and that there was some sort of... They learned that the beast couldn't be finished being summoned until the entire bloodline of whoever released it had been devoured. So Cal asked Max, hey, is there a way that we can protect him? Because, you know, if he's the last of his bloodline, we don't want this being released. To which Max pulled out his gun.
One of the few guns in the universe they know of, and he just goes, I know how we can help.
You know, because if you kill him, then he can't be devoured, was his thinking.
I think
it's the ultimate vaccine.
There's like only 2 of us that didn't agree with it.
I mean, so...
Everybody else was okay with it.
So Dalmine and Liren were kind of like, oh, no, we probably shouldn't kill him. Meanwhile, Cal was like,
I could fix some problems.
You know, but in the end, we wound up persuading Max and letting him know, like, hey, you know, I know that Charon used to work for the Postman and there's some bad blood, which, by the way, he also cut the tattoo of the Postman off his arm.
You're like, give me your arm, come on.
But, you know, that even though he left the Postman, that this specifically was more than likely the reason why. You know, he left the Postman a year ago, which is also the same time frame that his brother supposedly untombed this eldritch deity. So we were able to persuade Max to sort of like help him out instead of killing him,
which was nice. I didn't expect any of this from the DM perspective. I did not expect
us to catch him.
I was you guys to catch him. I kind of expected him to get away, depending on what he got and how you guys were finding him and things like that.
Because you rolled what, a non-nat 20 on the survival check to follow him.
Yeah.
So it's like bling, whoop, over there. So I anticipated you guys to maybe eventually run back into him and have like his whole thing going. But yeah, I mean, it's nice to happen. It was good, some character development between you guys and Charon and Max, and then a little bit more about the Postman and their inner workings.
Yeah.
I was surprised he even got free without me noticing.
Right?
Yeah.
Your passive perception was real high, but his sneak was just higher.
Yeah. So after that, Max and Charon left, and Dalmine said that she would go back to her home and try to help them as they could, because they, as a group, they decided, well, let's go talk to the Lawmaster and see if we can help get Belal and Soren out of jail. So Leon, Liren, and Calmine all went off to go talk to the Lawmaster.
In the morning.
Which went pretty well overall.
With some high persuasion.
With some very nice rolls on Cal's part.
It helped that we didn't try to break out of jail.
It helped you guys for once, were honest and try to be good people and didn't try some underhanded tactic.
Yeah. We tried to be honest, tried to be forthcoming. I had gotten a note from Max to try to help us, but we didn't wind up using it or needing to use it. So we were able to kind of work something out with the Lawmaster.
Right. We had to either pin the murder on someone,
or find a reason why Dropham was gone. To which Cal kind of stated, well, why don't we just say that he went and started to another far off land, start another venture, and that he left the Colosseum in the hands of Gildine, who in Cal's mind was probably the best person to take over the role of the ringmaster of the Colosseum.
He was already a champion, so...
Right. He was well respected by the town. Yeah. He had made the town a lot of money.
Right.
So it seemed like the most logical, to which the Lawmaster was like, oh.
That's not a bad idea. For the DM, I was like, I wonder which option they're going to take. Door number 3, psych, DM. And I was like, oh, all right, this works.
So wait, so what did you think we were going to do? Do you think we were going to pin the murder on someone?
Yeah, I figured you guys were going to comb the city and try and find Trish.
That was something that I'd thought about.
But you even asked if we thought Trish was even going to be in town.
No, I mean, and the whole thing about that is that, as a player, I definitely expect we'll run into her again. I don't think she's gone.
I mean, to be fair, as you ask somebody, do you think she'll stay in town? That's what that person thinks and knows. Right. That doesn't mean it's necessarily true.
Exactly.
They could be there's totally not a dragon underneath this city.
There could totally
be a dragon underneath the city.
Guys, there's a dragon underneath one of the cities.
Oh my god. We don't know.
There might be. We did. So anyway.
Zeke is wait, oh god, that's a thing? Oh no.
So they'd also, because Soren had crushed a poor defenseless horse.
Winifred.
That was the funniest.
The Lawmaster had also told him it would probably be a pretty good idea to go and talk to the owner of the horse and potentially reimburse him for his
which he had planned on doing. And the Lawmaster had mentioned that the horse was worth about 75 gold.
So the Lawmaster also told them that they had cleared the Colosseum of all the metal parts, to which the group was sort of like, wait a minute, where is this stuff? Because the group knew that the clockwork could reform itself, and made this known to the Lawmaster.
The Iron Giant.
Who
immediately
was like, well, shit.
Golden Army.
They just down to the basement over to keep the stuff. Oh no, there's a giant hole in the wall.
Oh no, the stuff is gone.
And they found that the stuff had basically been dragged, or there was claw marks on the ground through this hole going into the sewers that were underneath the city.
And the one that was supposed to be on guard was off that day, but someone had seen them, which then led us to believe that a changeling,
probably Trish,
most likely Trish, was pretending to be a guard, allowing everything to get stolen.
Changeling's fun.
Yeah.
For me.
So much fun.
I had to bail making one day.
So the Lawmaster asked that the Stormbreakers stay in town for a few days. They offered to help how they could. They were going to sort of do their own investigation into where all the clockwork pieces had gone. And the group was sort of free to go after that.
Right. To which Soren went with Galdine back to the Colosseum to borrow.
See if Galdine can sort of front him the money to reimburse this horse that he'd slaughtered mercilessly.
That's broken
with his thunderous thighs.
Slaughtered mercilessly.
Slaughtered mercilessly.
Just decimated.
I cannonballed it.
He atomic bombed the horse. There's no
in half, though. That's the worst part.
My belly flopped it. Can opener.
That was such a bad scene. It was
such
so
a
fun.
good scene.
It was great.
So
it was
funny.
perfect.
So Soren went back and he had offered up 8 platinum and 20 of his own gold, which is all of his
gold.
money,
all the money,
all of his money gone, to the man whose horse he killed. And of course the wife was like, money? Great!
We don't have any.
We'll take that 100 gold
Forget
equivalency.
the horse.
But of course the poor horse owner was just so heartbroken over the loss of poor Winifred that he had a little bit of a hard time accepting it. Yeah.
And he probably will. I mean, it's a prized horse that he raised.
It's like Seabiscuit.
Yeah. So, I mean, he offered anything that he could do, and the guy was like, clean my horse stable. So Soren did a really good job really fast. He was like, oh crap, you did that really well. I didn't think you were going to be able to do that. So...
I hate this.
He also asked if you could help find
his
son.
Who we have I think I mean,
the dots are starting to become a little more connected.
The sun was the guard that we had run into, who Trish was pretending to be.
So we have a suspicion that he's already dead.
Or maybe he was off that day.
Or maybe he's incapacitated somewhere, but more than likely he's probably dead in a ditch.
Yeah, he's probably dead.
He's probably dead in a ditch.
But I guess that's something we can
that was
find
the
out.
last favor that the horse merchant asked of Soren.
Yeah.
So.
Now there is kind of one question. I kind of want to go back to the Colosseum for a second. So there is a question that I had when we were talking about the magical chain that sort of encased the Colosseum, and I realized that we have Dispel Magic. So, like, Bilal has Dispel Magic. So if he had managed to successfully roll to dispel that, like, just from can you metagame a little bit there with that and kind of...
All the demons would come rushing in.
No, you would have been taken out of the Nine Hells.
Oh.
That was what anchoring you there. You would have been back in reality. Oh, there went gravity. The sounds of the battle would have been heard. If you guys had realized that no one heard your battle, you guys, the sound of the battle would have been heard. Guards would have rushed in, drop them in, might have been found red-handed. So you could have...
We could have potentially saved ourselves an awful lot of trouble if somebody would have just checked their spell list. So...
but Bilal even have that prepared.
He did have it prepared.
So he could have. So yeah, that generally it would have been a pretty high DC, but if it could have happened with his modifier and everything, it could have happened. You could have dispelled it. Chain would have gone limp, fallen out. You guys would have seen, the sky that you normally see. Nothing would have been there. Would have been nighttime. There, people would hear you guys fighting. You guys could have called out. You would have seen Dalmine. They are trying to, keep it like anchored. Once it went down, she would have been able to. I had her pulled up. She could have joined the fight. She could have hopped in there and then done her thing. You guys would have had someone else on the team fighting with you.
So this is just sort of a lesson for us as players to make sure that you're checking all your racial feats, you're checking all of your spells, you're checking all of your equipment. You know what you have. Because you kind of never know, like, you don't always have to. I know some people like to, but you don't always have to do combat in combat. You can do other things to sort of change the situation.
Like there's a giant stalactite, I'm going to throw a fireball and break that giant stalactite.
Right. Or I mean, just there's a lot of options there. It doesn't have to be the standard, like, oh, snap, I'm going to try to hit this monster. Like, you can use the environment around you.
Right.
So I think as players we can kind of learn something.
It definitely pays to experiment with things, or even just asking questions. Like, if it was like, can I dispel the magic on that and to see what it does?
You can certainly try.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Granted, that's the answer you'll probably get, but
you can always try. Will it work?
I mean, it's kind of like the situation we talked about in one of the other prologues is when Cal jumped down the ladder case to get to Gromtag's hideout, and you tossed the rope.
Right.
If we had all rolled well enough, it could have possibly worked.
Right, and sometimes it all comes down to the rules.
The fun of D&D.
But I think I think that's something that we all need to sort of keep in mind is that, if you pay attention to what you have, there's a whole bunch of different ways you can do things.
There's more than one way to skin a clockwork cat.
So this is...
This is a 90s sitcom. Get out of here.
So this sort of ends off our prologue for our campaign. Just kind of to ask some general questions. How do you feel going forward? You're kind of the newest member to our party.
I love it.
Well, to the game in general, you're super fresh to D&D in general.
Yes. I just want to keep playing. Like, I want to know what's going to happen next.
Fresh meat.
Please go. Be nice. Be gentle. Be gentle. But no, I love it. Everything is so new, so everything's like, oh my god. Oh my god.
This can happen.
There's like a little bit of panic right there.
It just gets escalated so much more each time. Like, our fights were so, like, middle school at first. And just keeps
like,
going.
oh, here's a couple of bandage. Oh, here's a couple of knolls. Here's some more bandage. Here's a bunch of clockwork. Oh, God, no.
And there's not... The battles are always going to... The harder...
God.
The displacer piece. That's my
That's an enemy, I think, that is so brand new to you, or even just, like, you're not even sure about that even being a concept to begin
That's why we said we were really glad when there was only one clockwork displacer beast, because we'd fought two before, and that was a nightmare.
Right, so you had 4 of them running around.
How did you survive with your health?
With my health, so I went unconscious, and then but I wound up being in the healing spirit because Bilal had moved it.
Yeah, I went unconscious.
So I wound up going back up.
So, if you guys want, I can make that displacer piece public on D&D Beyond if you'd like to look at my clockwork
you
displacer
made
piece.
it.
Yes, I made it.
Yeah, all the
All the clockwork are from me.
Oh.
You're fighting, most of the things you fight, I make.
So I can hate you.
Yes, you can. You can blame me.
Yes.
So if you want this clockwork displacer piece for your own campaigns, for your own friends, to have fun with,
Don't do that.
just, let me know. I'll make it public. Or, send us a message. I can send the link to the page, and you can have a good old look at it yourself.
Shoot us a Facebook message at Roll for Bluff, and we'll send you the information.
You'll lose friends. Don't add it.
I think we're all really excited to see where the story goes from here. We're like driving ourselves nuts, waiting for it to see what Brandon has in store for us.
I want to play some more.
It's one of these things where we're like, we go for 4 hours, and we're like, man, we can't stop now. Like, there's more, and we need to know more.
It's really like the TV show when it leaves at a cliffhanger. Like, you just want to know what's going to happen next. That's exactly how it is for me.
Yeah. I mean, there will be the benefit of the way that our shows are formatted. When this is live, tomorrow is the stream. So then people can pick it right back up.
So,
join us.
We will see you guys tomorrow on our stream. And we will also see you guys in the next official episode. We're all gonna die. We'll see you guys in the next episode of Roll for Bluff. Thank you so much for joining us, and have a wonderful night.